holding back, no, no. We could take it to the stars where you wanna go. The things that we can do don't need to prove, you know. Honey, I got what you want, yeah. Under the night sky, I want your eyes all on me, yeah. Don't tell me no lies, I always get mine. Don't play with me. So do you want it? Do you want it? Can you feel me? Can you feel me now? Can you handle it? Alright. So do you want it? Don't trade up on hold. I can't take it anymore. Trade up on me now. Trust me and you will see it. Honey, I got what you want. Honey, I got what you need. Honey, I got what you want. Honey, I got what you need. So don't put your love on hold. Can't feel me, I can't take it anymore. Don't put your love on me. Trust me and you will see. Honey, I got what you want. Honey, I got what you need. Honey, I got what you want. Honey, I got what you want, got what you need now.
Aloha, people. What's happening? How do you do? I am Doc Ruck, your YouTube and content creation coach. Today we have a fantastic guest. We're going to dive right in. I am rearranging my scenes because somehow I moved them around. when I was making that video yesterday, I moved a bunch of stuff around. It's driving me crazy because now I can't see what I want to see. Anyway, gang. Today is going to be good. I got a very special guest for you guys. We've been working on this episode for a hot minute. This is somewhat of a hot topic because it seems like everybody and their mama is starting a podcast. And some of y'all are still wondering if you should. And the answer, if you don't want to watch anything else, the answer is yeah. What are you doing? Okay, so here's how this works. If you're new around here, brand spanking new, make sure you let the Ohana know. The Let's Get Live family will welcome you in, give you the hugs, give you the honey, and say aloha. Now, if you're watching this on replay, make sure you let us know you're watching on a replay, because if for some reason there's a question that we missed today, I'll come back in the comments later and answer any questions there may be. I don't want to drag this out too long, so we're going to dive in. I want to introduce you guys to our guests. Today we have the man who created the Hive podcast. Now, if you are a creator in any way, shape, or form, you should listen to this. I mean, you're talking about bringing in some of the best casters from around the world, people in here. Like here, I'll show you one of my favorites. Okay, see this lady right here? You guys know her, Miss Diana Gladney. But look, Gerald Undone. Miss D says that Gerald and I would be best friends because I am the super nerdy spec guy. And so is Gerald. So also you can follow Jared over here on his IG. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you guys to Mr. Jared Spink. How you doing, Jared?
What's up? What's up, Doc?
Look,
How you doing,
see
man?
that? He wore the proper uniform and everything.
Oh, yeah. I got my Ecamm shirt on, of course.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Brother, tell us folks a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. It was
Absolutely.
For all you guys tuning in. Me and Doc actually got to chat for a long time yesterday because we pre-recorded a podcast episode for my show that will air in a couple weeks. So we almost got like a little dress rehearsal for today's live stream. So that's
scheduling
that
the opposite guests back to back is actually a game changer because it makes it easy because then you already got flow, right? It's super dope.
Yeah, it's good. So for those of you that are tuning in, if you're not familiar with me, my name is Jared Spink. I'm the host of the Hive podcast, where I talk to creatives of all, well, it's kind of around YouTube right now, but I'm open to talking to any creatives and really get in depth about the entrepreneurship of creative and hear about everybody's backgrounds, whether they, had a creative background before they started creating YouTube videos or podcasts or live streams, whatever they're doing. Learn about their background, learn how they got into what they're doing, the hurdles along the way, the mistakes, the successes, in hopes that hearing those stories motivate the listeners or the viewers to pursue their goals in whatever, creative outlet they want to pursue.
That is amazing. I'm just checking in on our people real quick. Elizabeth, how you doing? I was going to ask Jared that question. We'll get to that. Whoa, easy on the comments there. See, Jared cursed me, okay? Because yesterday he goes, Doc, like, you ever have any like major mistakes while you're doing your show? And I just laughed. I'm like, bruh, every time, and my people are probably the ones that cause it. No, I'm joking. So I'm just checking to see that our people are here. All the usuals are in the house. But yes, Elizabeth, we'll talk about platform in a little bit. So I will star your comment so I can remember. So that's cool. Just seeing if everyone's here. And this is seriously one of my favorite names in the business. Never call me again. I don't know why, but I absolutely love that. That is the bombski. Okay, so let's dive into some things. Oh, wait, one thing. I have got to send I'm going to cry in a second. I have to send a massive, massive mahalo to my crew, the Let's Get Live family, and all the rest of my subscribers, because you guys did something magic today. I saw this right before Jared called. But you came, family.
Nice, man. Congrats.
Holy smokes. Okay, so we are like 1K away. Actually, 996 because it's 9,004 now. So, yeah, gang, we're going to have us a party. So everybody, just go ahead and start ordering your 18-year-old whiskey. It's important. And that means you too, Rob. Okay, right, Lee? I agree with you, bro. We'll get into that too. Lee says he absolutely loves your background. Okay, look,
thanks, man.
I'm gonna need you to stay where I put you. All right, so why the Hive podcast? That's a good one.
Oh, why the Hive podcast? Well, I have my own freelance business called Hive Media. First off, I wanted to keep the branding the same, but a hive, you think about a beehive, it's a community. So that's the creative community. I want to share those experiences. So the Hive podcast, that was my thinking. That's what I came up with. It may not make a lot of sense to some people, but it makes sense to me.
No, it's perfect because that's true. There's the whole community aspect of it. I like to me, what comes to mind is the buzzing and the activity, like you're always moving, right? And then at the end, you create something sweet. I know it's kind of corny, but it's a thing. When a community gets together, you end up creating a pretty dope product. You know what I mean?
You chose the right name when it starts to mean something different to other people than just yourself, which is pretty cool.
You guys heard that? See, I'm telling you, man, already coming with the facts. I just reminded myself I need to get a fax noise for because whenever in LGL, whenever someone drops fax, we always say fax as in machine, like in facsimile. Don't ask me why. It's a weird thing. We're a strange bunch. All right, so we'll get into your workflow for a second.
Okay.
But I guess one of the things that always comes up, and so we might as well just push it out of the way already, and this kind of goes back to what Liz was talking about, is what do you use as your pod hoster?
As my podcast host right now, I probably use the platform that the majority of people use is Anchor, right? When I got into the game a year ago, Anchor's free, right? You're not making any money on a podcast usually to start, so you try to trim the fat, the cost wherever you can. So Anchor is where I'm at currently. There'll probably be some changes in the works with hosting as the podcast continues to grow, and I want to roll out some benefits to longtime listeners, like maybe getting episodes early, or if I ever do ads, which I'm not a big fan of, or ad-free episodes. So there's other platforms that allow you to roll out episodes at different times to different groups of people. Something I'm looking into, but right now I'm on Anchor. I am super happy with it. It's worked out great. And so, yeah, that's what I'm using. If anybody wants to jump into podcasting, I recommend it because it's free.
Oh, you know what? I should have thought about it, but I didn't. At the end, I'll put a link in just in case. Man, I can't spell. So, moderator, delete that comment. I should put in like your affiliate link to anchor.fm just in case. But the thing to me that is kind of hot right now, it just happened, is Apple updating the podcast app.
Yeah.
How does that trigger you at this moment?
Well, I got to do some more research into it. Everything I've heard so far is it hasn't gone smoothly for the people that have jumped on board early, where shows have disappeared from search, and I think they gotta get those kinks out of the way. And then I have questions too, where is if you host, you host on a hosting platform like Anchor, and it rolls out to everywhere. I mean, my podcast goes everywhere: Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, everywhere. So how's that affect being able to sign up and have people subscribe and be able to roll out episodes early when your hosting platform isn't Apple,
Well, Apple's, okay, so I can help you there. Apple's not a hosting platform. They're the aggregator.
Well, yeah, but how does it know when to pull the RSS feed? Well,
There'll
how
be
does
a
Anchor
tag.
know?
There'll be
Anchor
a tag
know
in
when
the
to release
feed.
it?
Well, actually, there already is. There's been a tag in the feed for like hidden episodes or paid only episodes. For instance, I use Podbean, so we already have a spot to put hidden only episodes. It generates.
So you don't have that on Anchor though.
Yeah, so there's a hidden only. I guess it's a separate RSS feed, and what happens is the people that pay, you can actually control like who sees it or whatever. I think the other thing that's going to be dope is, like I mentioned to you in your spot yesterday, definitely start your Buy Me a Coffee page, because Buy Me a Coffee is going to add member-only podcasts in their section as well. So, and more than likely, what you're going to end up having is a separate feed, and the applications that support that will be fine. But your people who sign up to be your member, they're not in discovery mode. They're going specifically to where they're going, right? It's like all of us drive past Core Power Yoga all day, every day. But when you're a member, you go to that one in your neighborhood that's yours. So they don't have to worry about whether you're coming through, what did I used to say? Apple, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever podcast getting is got. That's my tagline.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, like, for the average size podcaster, if it's a great move to do the membership on Apple.
It is
mainly because it's
hard.
only exclusive to Apple, and there's not a whole lot of benefits other than like you get episodes early or you get ad-free listening. But if you want to offer more benefits to those that subscribe, doing it through Apple is not the best. I think you're still better off doing like a Patreon, because you can offer a lot more benefits to those that want to subscribe and support your podcast. You can do a lot more through that than you could through a page.
Yeah, I am curious how the integration is going to work, because so the cool thing about, like, say Buy Me a Coffee or whatever versus Patreon so far, like my experience so far, is it's just way smoother, and it's smoother for the people who want to help you, right? Oh, here, let me do this because I'm over here talking smack and I forgot to press this button. Cha-kang! So it's a way smoother experience for the people that want to be, supportive of you. So in other words, they don't have to make an account. They don't have to do anything. They can just drive by and drop support, right? If they want to become a member, they get to use, their PayPal, their Apple Pay, general credit card, like whatever they want. As a person who is receiving on the opposite end, their support is immediate. What a lot of people don't realize as a patron supporter, the creator might not get anything for 90 days until they hit threshold. So you gotta, and depending on your amount, you gotta have like 10 patrons before you ever even get paid. And if you don't hit that threshold, they ain't giving it to you. You gotta hit the threshold. So Patreon has blocks. Most people pass that right away. I mean, let's not get it twisted, but it's clunky and it's old, and they haven't thought about updating it. So both Coffee, Ko-Fi, Ko-fi, weird, and Buy Me a Coffee just came by, elbowed them real quick, move, Patreon, you're sitting around here dancing on your laurels and we're out. The other thing that they do, I think, which is dope, is it's 5% flat fee no matter what. And they give us the opportunity to pay the credit card fees for the members. So that way, if someone says they're giving you $10, they don't have to do like 10.80, it's just 10, period, right? And so they went and they found, I think they did what a Sony does. Sony likes to sit back and watch Canon and Nikon make a bunch of mistakes, and they go, uh-huh. And everybody goes, where's Sony? They're late. What are they doing? And Sony's like, mm-hmm. And then right after everybody blows a cap, then Sony comes in and goes, I'm the hero. I solved all of the problems that you don't like.
With Buy Me a Coffee, can you have member benefits, or is it strictly just supporting the creator?
Oh, you can have member benefits for sure.
Okay.
My drop squad, they come and hang out with me every weekend. We have fantastic conversations. You can do member only posts. You can run your mail list. It's amazing. You should definitely check it out. I have both. I actually have both. Nice. So yeah.
Okay. I was only looking at Patreon, but I'll have to look at that because I do want to start something for those, it's been a year of the podcast, and something for those people that tune in each and every week if they want to show their support, and then add some added benefits to that too, like maybe member only live streams where, we can have Q&As.
See, gang, all you guys down there, we're all streamers, and Jared keeps talking about, I'm going to stream, and it's like, yeah, come on. just do it.
I like to have it a little polished, I got to get over that hump of
No,
okay,
you don't want to be polished. You want to be you. Just be your normal Jared self, which is probably I can't even speak, which is probably automatically a little bit polished. So don't worry about that. All right, let me do this right quick. I'm going to do set up your BMC now, bam, and then pop it in the link so that people in the chat, if you haven't already done so, you can set one up yourself. Okay, let's get into the cool stuff. Let's talk about your workflow. Like, what does setting up a podcast like yours look like to you? Like, where would someone start?
So I started... you got to start with the idea of like what you want your podcast to be about and the format, right? There's usually what, three main formats. There's the solo, podcast. There's the, co-host podcast. And then there's one where you have guests. And I already knew that I wanted to have a show that interviewed people, an interview format with guests. So I already could check off that box. Then for me, because I worked in sales and marketing for a very long time, branding is so important. So for me, the direction I went was making sure I had the right color scheme, right logo, right thumbnail that I wanted for the show before I rolled it out. And then I think what's very important when you're just starting a show, sit down, come up with a list of potential guests you want to have on, and start scheduling those guests immediately. One, that's going to help you with a backlog of episodes. And because you've already scheduled it, it's going to hold you accountable to get that recording done and to get it out there. So I think that's super important. And then when you go from there, once you're done with that, then you can figure out how you want to record it. There's so many different options based on budget, but having the idea of the format of the show. So for me, it's branding, and then start planning and then execute.
Okay, gang. So one thing Jared touched on real quick. If you're just going to do an audio podcast, right, you could literally record it with your iPhone. I suggest you get like the basics, like a Samsung Q2U, because it'll sound fantastic and it's good. Many of the podcasting hosters now have like Auphonic code built in the background. And if they don't, just use Auphonic. It will clean your sound up nice and neat. So once you chop it up in GarageBand, Audacity, I use Audition, Logic, whatever you chop it up in, you can take that file, download it, throw it up at Auphonic, and Auphonic will polish it, set it at the right loudness at full scale, aka LUFS, which I yell at you guys about making your YouTube videos at the right level. Same exact thing. You throw it in there, it will generate the file for you, and you can actually put all the metadata and everything in through a site like Auphonic. So you can add your image, add your chapters, whatever you need to do. It'll take that file and send that to your podcast host. So you can dive in relatively painlessly with something as simple as an iPhone or a good quality, inexpensive USB mic. I stick to good quality because I don't want to say cheap.
An iPhone's not bad. Like if that's all you have and that's what you want to get started with, absolutely do it. But take some steps to make the audio sound a little bit better. So go to Harbor Freight and get some moving blankets and surround yourself with moving blankets that cost $3. Or if you have a walk-in closet that's full of clothes, I've used this closet to record voiceovers for clients because It's got clothes. I hang up a couple moving blankets, and it just dampens that sound, which is really good. Or, key tip, do it in your car, right? You don't.
Yep.
Cars are made to be soundproof, so you don't hear the outside that
Oh
well.
my God,
So
who
they're
told me that
super good for
yesterday?
recording in.
Somebody
tip
told
right
me
there.
yesterday that they did their first couple of podcasts right in their car, and I think
Great.
about
you got
it.
a recording booth right there.
It's perfect, right? Like, my car has really. If you shut the door and your car goes, "Fa-dunk," you have a perfect audio booth, right? Because it already has the thick. Certain cars have thicker rubber or heavier doors. When you shut the door, if your door is quiet, like even when the other person that lives in your house is mad and they slam the door and it still goes, "Dunk," then you have an awesome recording booth. I'm not speaking from experience or anything. That is super crazy, but you're right. Especially anything past like iPhone 7 or 8 has a dope multi-mic array system, and you'll get pretty decent quality. My only suggestion is take it off the table so that you don't get any. You won't hear it, but it's in there. The vibration of your sound hitting the table and going into the mic. So sitting it on a book or something gets it in the air so that the mic isn't directly bouncing the table. Super weird, but it definitely makes a difference.
But
All
like
right.
we talked about yesterday when it comes to gear, I mean, we talked about how, there's that saying that gear doesn't matter. And to a point, it doesn't. Like, it shouldn't matter for you getting started. So if a phone is all you have, absolutely start with that. But gear does matter as long as you know how to use it and you know what gear is going to impact your creative ambition. And so you got to know what gear you need, how to get the most out of it. Then it matters when you can make a difference with that gear.
Sorry, I'm laughing at Kevin. See, when we do the podcast, you don't have these things where Kevin comes in and says something funny. It's that special talk to yourself time when you're in the car.
Yeah, you want to make sure the car's parked and not on, though, when you're recording. Otherwise, you will get some background noise.
Hey, I tell you what, if I did my podcast when I was driving, you guys would be like, man, I thought Doc was nice. I did not realize he had road rage. I mean, what the? Yeah, especially Hawaii has horrible drivers.
Dude,
So
I'm in California. Don't get me started.
Oh, yeah, true story. True story. So here's a cool thing that I had fun when I did my first cast. I basically thought out loud into a microphone and posted them. It's really crazy. So it was about, I guess, personal development, but not from the coachy preachy side. I'm explaining my personal development journey as I pick them up. Little nuggets that I hear, I reshare them because that's how you remember things. If you learn something, teach it as soon as you can to 3 people, and it's permanent. It's in your head forever. You won't forget it. Don't know why that works. It just works that way. I think our brains were designed to share these stories. Our brain was designed to share. So whenever you learn something, be able to spit that back out. And so that was a large aspect of it. But I literally, like Kevin said, talking to yourself in the car. I would talk to myself, but talking to them because it was better than talking to myself. And it was weird. But then people would download and listen. It's like, hey, that was great. Keep going. And I was like, really? People listen to this? I was really not expecting anyone to hear anything. It was just there. So you're definitely right. It's
I like
easy
Kevin's
to just go in
comment
the
he
car.
just made too. That is a great name for a show. Tales from Behind the Wheel. That is great, man.
Oh my God. Talk about explicit tag. Mine
You
will
better
have
start that.
Mine will have the humongous explicit tag. It was super funny. Okay, so I guess the next thing we should probably do, because people are going to wonder, can we see what your setup looks like?
Absolutely, right? I set up a camera just for that for you, right? So
Okay.
I can show you right now what we're doing. Let's see here. Let's make sure it's in focus.
It's hard to focus because it's not Sony.
There we go. Oh, I got manual focus.
I'm teasing.
All right, so we got just a basic MacBook. Everything feeding into there. We got the camera feed running into the ATEM. So we got behind there, we got our Blackmagic 6K running into the ATEM, which is really nice using that together because you can control all the coloring with this app right here. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the ATEM control software control. So it controls the Blackmagic camera, so I can adjust saturation, contrast, colors, exposure. Super nice. So all that's running into the ATEM, into the computer. And then, of course, I got the teleprompter with a monitor so I can actually see Doc and look at the camera at the same time. And then over here we have our audio setup. Stuck on something. There we go. We got our Rodecaster and our boom arm feeding into our SM7B. We got a little fill light over here. We got our key light, some sound panels. And yeah, man, that's basically the setup.
Bruh. That's the business. That is the business. Are those the nano tubes, Pavo tubes?
Oh, behind me? Yeah. So I got two. You can't see it because we're kind of cropped in, but so I got two tubes, and then we got some. There we go. We got two tubes. We got hue lights in the closet, and then along the desk and behind the computer. And that's the main workstation where all the editing, and then we have the kind of the podcast and video setup over here.
You know, it's funny because I have a smaller space, but I was definitely thinking about separating my podcasting, vidcasting style desk and separating it from the work desk. So I'm gonna do some, moving around in
this
space.
This is a small room. This is just a basic bedroom, So this is just, I have a Husky workbench that like I can adjust the height. It's got a couple drawers where I can put cables and stuff in, and I've got these like wall mounted boom arms. I think they're made for lights. So one actually has a light on it, and the other one actually has my camera set up. So if I do need to take it out of the way, like I can just fold it up into the wall and move the desk, and then I can fold it back down, and it's going to be in the same position every time, which is nice.
That's cool. Actually, Miss D was Diana. Sorry, we all call her Miss D. Was definitely talking about those lights. Okay, so Hector had a question. I'll show you up real quick. Hector. So Hector said, "Could I repeat?" Man, come on, comment, go. There you go. Could I repeat the phonics studios ideal for podcast YouTube video? Now, each platform does say something different. I have found on average what you need is -16 LUFS. Some places will say instead of LUFS, they'll say LKFS. It's the exact same thing. It's loudness under full scale. So I'll show you what I use it even to finish my YouTube videos when I'm done, because I want them to have the right level. One of the most irritating things in the world, and Jared and I talked about this on his podcast yesterday, which I think he said comes out on the 10th. Nothing sucks more than to go look at your favorite video and you can't hear a dang thing. So down here at the bottom is all you really need to care about for this particular case. I use adaptive leveling. I put on a filter. I use loudness normalization, and that's so that our audio levels match, especially when you have a guest, right? I will do each guest separate, bring that into my editor. I'll edit it. So first I'll take it. I'll have it take the file in. I'll have it normalize the guest. Then I'll bring it into my editor. I'll chop, and then I'll spit out the last file. And it's just a little bit better than what many of the apps have, or it's just faster. I won't say it's better. It's faster. If I sit there and audition,
sounds a lot faster.
If I sit there and audition and tweak out with Nectar, the DJ and me will tweak on it forever. So I got to stop myself because I really trust in it. And the reason why I trust this platform is because it learns as you go, not just from yourself, from every audio file that gets uploaded. So it knows better how to deal with various noises. Now, what I select, why'd you just blink? Anyway, it doesn't like, my NDI doesn't like this browser for some reason. When I select on -16, it tells you right there it's for podcast and mobile. In their list, there are other options that are in there, but this is what we stick to. Now, this case I'm showing you for a YouTube video, so let me change the preset to the podcast, and it has my title. That's not going to be the right title. That will be where I would post my podcast image. Here it has my artist name, which is me, the album, Solid Podcast by Doc Rock. It gives me a chance to add any extended metadata like subtitle or summary, podcast, the year, the genre, like my podcast license. Like I have a Creative Commons license that I have on my site, so it takes it to that. You can insert chapter marks if you wish, but on here, instead of the regular output I had before, I have it set for MP3. I have it do at 320 kilobits, and I have it push it to mono because podcasts, right? Everything else is the same. So I have one sort of set for podcasts and one set for general stuff. Doc, press the right button. There you go. I have my, I took off my Stream Deck to clean it, and I forgot to plug it back in. And so now it's really weird. My hand keys reaching over there, and it's not on. I'm like, you ding dong. So let me just check the comments, make sure we're caught up. Hey, yes, Rob, everybody and their mama's on the Husky workbench. I thought about it, but I could build my own desk. The woodworker curse. Yes. You know, it's funny. This is funny. One of the hardest things I ever did was say goodbye to the platters. I miss them, but controller is so much easier to put away. And a controller weighs 5 pounds. Them freaking 1200s is 26 pounds a piece. So I was actually glad to get rid of them now. At first, I would go in and miss it, but once you switch to controller and put them away, you just got to get over I'm the vinyl guy. Yeah. And getting rid of all the vinyl made more room for studio. I miss it, though. Something about the smell of vinyl. You got the IKEA crank desk. Yes. Okay. Okay, Keely. Keely is saying I need to make a video about my orthophonic process. I believe I did, but I'll do it again because Keely's the boss and whatever she says goes. It's just super simple. I don't argue with her. She probably hit you with a hockey stick.
I'm going to have to check that out because I do basically everything manually in my editor, and that takes a lot more time to level out stuff. So,
Kevin, this is a fantastic question. If you're uploading a host with metadata, do you need to do it orthophonic? No, you don't. It depends on Okay, now Podbean has cleaned it up, so their metadata system is a lot easier to mess with. So I kind of do it there now. But in the beginning, it was horrible. Like I just didn't like it. But it was a great service. And yeah, it kind of if you like and trust your service, like if you're using Anchor or Spreaker, or my new favorite in the game right now is Squadcast, guys. Squadcast is legit because it allows what Jared and I did yesterday, you can actually do on Squadcast, which is record, video with 2 hosts in 2 separate locations and put it together. Still use your Ecamm for your virtual and your overlays and all of that stuff. But yeah, we'll get into that. Don't mess with me, Kevin. All right. No, yeah, there you go. All right, I was just about to say no, but you're correct. That's what I do. I use Wave for my YouTube videos because I'm editing in Final Cut Pro. I put it together. Same in Premiere. I want the cleanest, highest, 16-bit. You can either save it as Wave or AIFF or whatever. But for podcasts, you want to do MP3 compression because many hosts charge you by weight, right? And so the Wave version of your podcast will be, okay, like say in a video, hour long, you're looking at like 300-400 megabyte file. When you send it back as an MP3 in mono, 64K. 64 megs, I mean. So yes, that's another thing. So you want to do that as well. Okay, so the next thing I guess I wanted to pick your brain about is why Ecamm? I'm gonna love this part.
Why Ecamm? Yeah. Oh man, because Ecamm, it just does so much, man. I barely even scratch the surface at what it does, but it does what I use it for extremely well. It's so much better than Zoom. So, initially when we went into lockdown and the pandemic hit and we couldn't do live podcasting anymore and we had to do it remotely, I think everybody probably defaulted to Zoom because that's what everybody was using. And yeah, it was just frustrating. Having backup audio through Zoom is horrible. If you have a system where you can record both tracks, which I should say that I record everything in multi-track. I don't like stereo tracks. But the audio from the guest that you get on Zoom is horrible. And then if you want to turn your podcast into a video cast as well, you run into that audio sync issue with Zoom all the time. So Ecamm kind of solves all those problems. One, the audio tracks that you get from Ecamm are fantastic. I mean, sometimes the guest audio that Ecamm records is better than what gets recorded on the Rodecaster occasionally. And then you have the audio delay, which is fantastic when you're recording a video podcast. So you can actually, it's through trial and error. You got to figure out how many frames you need to delay your audio, but man, it works so well where you can just have it all synced up and ready to go. And you can have your overlays for branding. Like I said, branding's super important to me, and you can have that all in Ecamm and not have to do it in post. So my video podcast is basically produced on the fly. It takes out all the editing I need to do in post, and it's ready to go as soon as I hit and record, basically. So Ecamm for the win, man. It's great.
There you go. And that was a good thing, because I think people don't realize. I won't say people don't. A lot of people do realize it, but I think more people should understand how much better recording a podcast is in Ecamm. Now, like, even if you weren't going to do the video component, because there's something about seeing the person you're speaking. There's something about seeing the person that you're talking to, I think provides for a better experience. So even for the British Tech Network podcast, we've been doing for 13 years. And we have hosts from all over the world, right? Some days there's a couple of Americans, a couple of British, person in Germany, person in France, and one dude in the Philippines. And we're all conversating. But because we can see each other, right? Like, I think the experience is better. So I think I know the audio version gets way more downloads than the video version. But the whole point of that is to feel like a bunch of lads in the pub. See, I just went British all of a sudden. A bunch of guys in the pub arguing about whatever Apple is putting out or doing, or whatever, the fan base is saying, versus the not the investors. What do you call those people? The money people, like the speculators for the markets. Like, oh, Apple's going to sell X many iPhones, and we just laugh at them because they always get it short. So it's just a way better experience. So even if you're not going to do the video portion, having the call in from the guests and seeing them and interacting is dope. And what we're going to get Jared to do is do it live, so that the members can see what they're doing while he's doing it.
Yeah, and you have the option, right? You have the option to be able to record the video call and do so much more with Ecamm than you could with Zoom. I mean, right now, you would never be able to do this with Zoom. It's just not possible. So it's fantastic.
See, Kevin a while back said that you had the you kind of had the background for live video. And then, Lee said you had the background for live streaming already, because you have such a nice background. And Dr. Elo said, right, he's ready. So if Dr. Elo says you're ready, then dang it, you're ready.
There we go, man.
That's cool. Okay, I guess one of the other things I wanted to talk about is, I know this is going to be hard. Well, it'll be hard for me. But what is your best episode and why?
Oh, best episode. Man, that's so hard. It's been 51 of them released, like 53 recorded.
I'm just telling you, if you like life, you better say Diana Gladney. Just joking. I'm joking.
Okay, so I got a funny story with that one. I think her power went out. We as soon as we got on the call, her power went out.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, we'll be on the call some days, and the planes will take off from the base by her, and she just stops and just looks at the sky, and you hear this. And then even with the SM7B though, that went away. So there's a thing about the gear doesn't matter until it does.
I think my favorite episode to date, and if any of my past guests listen to this, I love you all.
It was a set
was
of
with
Jared.
was with Danny Gewirtz. I'm not sure if anybody here in the chat has heard of Danny, but Danny's a really up and coming YouTuber, fantastic filmmaker. Used to live on the East Coast, lives in Hawaii now, makes fantastic videos. He is so talented. So I had him on when his channel was just taking off. And the reason that one was my favorite is because I approached that episode different than I had any other episode prior to that. When I was first getting started, my episodes were very, I don't want to say scripted, but I had a list of questions, and I really stuck to those questions pretty firmly and directed the episode in a very particular direction. And I wanted to get it to a very specific length, which you shouldn't do. You should just let the conversation flow. And that was the first episode where I went into it with basically no notes other than the idea of some questions in my mind that I wanted to ask Danny. And it was the first episode that really came across as a genuine conversation between two guys talking about creativity and filmmaking, and that episode performed better and still does than any other episode because it is such just a genuine conversation between two guys. And that's really, that episode changed the way I approach any episode after that, where it wasn't so structured. I had an idea and a plan going into each episode, but it was more just, let's have a conversation and see where it takes us. And so that would be why that's my favorite episode, because it's really changed how I approach each episode.
That's actually good insight. I think, yeah, it becomes a challenge because even people will say, "Oh, how long should my live stream be?" I'm like, "Yo, when Dinah and I get on the stream, it's 5 hours, bro. We'll go in because we're really good friends, and it's easy for us to have a conversation. B, our community always comes with fire questions, and so with their questions, we're sitting down and we're not leaving until all the question marks are gone. You just got to sit there and do it. And it's funny because our other partner, David, now, he always like, "Oh, man, how do you guys sit there? Don't you got to go to the bathroom?" And I'm like, "Man, you get podcaster bladder. You get good at it." You know, like it just
you're
happens.
not thinking about it. You're thinking about what you're doing.
We're thinking about what we're doing. We do have the magic be right back button just in case. But, you know, and Miss D will do something like get two guests on and get them talking, and then she'll leave. And you can see in the back end of Ecamm that she left. And I'm like, okay. So luckily, I know how to keep this going because of my radio years. So I will just keep talking to the other guests, and then she'll come back.
I think the worst thing you could do for a podcast, and I'm sure it's the same for live streaming, is basically dragging out an episode longer than it needs to be. Your audience can tell when you're just trying to stretch something for the sake of stretching it in time. And a perfect example of this is if anybody watching has ever watched The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, look at that. Every episode is a different length. Why? Because they weren't tied to some length that it had to be. They took the time it took to tell the story of that episode, whether it was 38 minutes or 42 minutes. You take the time you need. Same thing goes with your podcast, your live stream. Take the time you need. If it's, ideally, if I want like an hour episode, but, it's only at 38 minutes and that's the conversation, that's the conversation. And it's going to make for a better episode or a better live stream if you don't try to just beat a dead horse and stretch it out for the sake of time.
And you know why that works, Jared? This is the way.
That is the way. This is the way. Awesome.
That is true. It's super funny. I didn't notice that at first, and somebody else brought it to my attention. And here's the funny thing. As a viewer, you don't even notice it because you're so like, oh, my God, they did what? Oh, my God, what? Like, you're so, like, awestruck at the end, or you're stuck, or you're like, really? I got to wait another, week or whatever. And unfortunately, it doesn't leave you to where, okay, I'm just going to save them for the end of the season so I can watch it all at once. You can't do that because everybody and their mama's yakking about it. So you got to kind of watch it live. And then when they leave you stuck, they leave you stuck, like absolutely stuck. So yeah, it's very true. Make it as long as it needs to be. And I think that's something for people who are worried about this. I think it's something that only comes with time, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel your growth arc as an interviewer has changed, say 0 to 51? And here's why I say this, Jared. I tell my people, when you start making your YouTube videos, don't even think about anything until you hit the episode 50. The first 50 are just like, free throws, before the game. They're just doesn't matter. Oh, right, you're the baseball player. They're just going out there batting practice. The first 50 episodes are batting practice. You try, you tweak, you adjust, you get comfortable, blah, blah, blah. Podcasting, I think, is probably more around 10 because it's audio. It's a little bit easier. But yeah, so how do you feel your arc has changed?
I think it's gotten a lot better. And so the key to being a good interviewer when it comes to podcasting isn't being able to ask insightful questions and being able to, the key is to listen, right? To shut up and listen to your guest. Have some questions in mind, but don't feel like you got to stick to them. The best way to interview and have a good conversation is to see where that conversation goes and ask the questions based on the conversation and not some structured questions that you have. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is to listen live to what your guest is saying. And that's really hard to do when you first get started because you're nervous. You're not necessarily listening to what the guest is saying, and you're going to, these questions that you maybe have pre-written, and that's okay to get the feel for it. But I think I've gotten a lot better at being able to live more in the moment and listen to the guest. And I think that makes for a better episode.
You know what that means, right? That
No,
means you're
what?
ready. You're ready for live, bro.
I'm ready to go live.
We're gonna keep harassing Jared until he just pops his live cherry. Even if here's the thing, bro. I'm gonna give you a doctor-oriented prescription right now. It doesn't have to be your podcast. You can just go live on your YouTube channel and tell people in the podcast, hey, show up on this day. We're gonna go live. We're just going to have a chat, right? And then you if you feel comfortable, you can put your guest link up and just have people come in and join you and ask, AMA. Just think of it as an AMA, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna schedule it, and we'll just have you as the first guest.
Absolutely. I will come and kick it with you. We will help you. My crew will show up and help Jared through his first live stream. And he's gonna be like, Dad. You're going to do the steps, and then right when you think you got it, you will fall, because you will on your first one. You just do it. It just happens. And then once you fall, you know what? That wasn't that bad, and now I'm good to go. It is definitely a control freak factor. I'm a Virgo, so trust me, I understand the control freak factor. You just got to let it go and do your thing. So I'm telling you, bro, you'll love it, and your community will love it because they'll get a chance to talk back to you other than just comments.
Instead of just listening, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's... Keely says we're good helpers. See, Keely is awesome. I love Keels. And then it's funny. She said when she did her last podcast, her last stream, her Keely hour turned into 90 minutes. So, and that's the thing. Like, what happens is it becomes organic. Yes, it becomes extremely organic. You're feeling your audience. They're feeling you. You guys get into the groove. Here's a prime example, Jared. Maybe last Saturday, or Saturday before last, Dinah just came on, and we were testing out. We both got the Rode NT USBs because we wanted to test out to give people options, because everybody says, oh, I don't want to buy an SM7B. Shut up and buy it.
Or buy a pod mic.
Yeah, or pod mic, right? And mine's just sitting over, my two are sitting over there quietly. What happened is, after testing, we somehow got onto the subject of our parents' strict disciplinary systems and how bad we thought it was as children, but now as adults we get it because all the other kids are bad, and we're pretty much okay. And then so Keely came on, and then the next thing you know, Keely, Diana, and myself, we were streaming for 4 hours, just three friends sitting around having cocktails, cracking up, laughing. Just a fantastic, just kind of conversation. And that's the thing that you'll find once you, find your creator that you're talking to or whatever. Maybe you're doing even a sort of a Hive podcast situation where you guys are bouncing ideas off each other. You're giving your audience as creators a chance to bounce ideas or come and ask questions about being creators or whatever. Yes, Keely. And then we did get on the subject of old school furniture and water beds, how tacky they were. But back in the day, that was a thing.
Those were the cool things, man. Everyone wanted a water bed.
Dude, we found this 1970s round water bed leopard print thing. And the ad was this is only $172. And I'm like, dude, you can't get a coffee table for that.
When you're shopping for homeowners insurance, they still ask you, is there a waterbed in the home? Because,
yes,
man,
they do.
Things.
100%. That is so funny. Wait, see, you live in Cali, so the ad we probably pulled up probably came from Cali, because waterbeds in Hawaii were very popular. I have no idea why, because the ocean's right there. But yeah, it was super funny, and we just went on random tangents. We started talking about the thick carpet or the funny clothes that we used to have to wear. Yeah. It was basically a reminiscing over old age, and Diana's 32, so I don't know what the heck she knows. So I guess, yeah, I think for you, my recommendation would definitely be just come in, pop on, talk to your audience, give them a chance to see the other side of you. But yeah, even a quick round robin about, hey, what are you working on? Let's talk through some things, because you're going to get ideas from them. The thing about the Drop Squad, which happens like every Saturday, and quick commercial break, for those of you guys who are not in the Drop Squad, you can go to buymeacoffee.com and sign up and be a member. You get to hang out with us on Saturdays in the Drop Squad. Okay. It stands for Doc Rock Peak Performance. These are my go people, the people who are as anal and on the move as me, that are always trying to do something. Or we are the extras, the guys that are always being extra. That's us. Yeah, we have a fantastic time. We bounce ideas. We, we talk about things. We try new stuff. This weekend we were trying out an app called Conversion AI, which is quite amazing. And it's an absolute blast. So once you get your membership going and you start to build the drones, I'm gonna keep it in your theme. Once you start to build your drones, you're just going to be on a whole different level. Like, these guys gas me up so much that I leave Saturday after it's over. I'm super tired because I start Saturdays at like 3 a.m. and still, like, it's so amazing, bro. It's so amazing. Like, I get so much energy from them. Sometimes I cannot go back to sleep. He says retentive. Sorry, Rob. I know you are the most, by the way. Okay, so another thing that I wanted to run by you real quick is because you come from this sales and marketing background, I think one of the things that we all struggle with, myself included, so this is your chance to prescribe the doctor. How do you go about the marketing aspect of it? Because again, your branding is fire. It is absolutely on point. Michelle's not here today. She's normally hiding in the bathroom at work. She's our branding person, but you're killing it on the branding side. So what about your past, I guess, helps you now in this endeavor? And what could you give people as like 3 quick tips or something?
Yeah, the most important thing I think when it comes to branding is consistency. It needs to be consistent. You need to put some thought into it, like I did with my logo and my color scheme. And then you need to just stick with it for a while and be consistent with getting it out there. And once you do that, it'll catch on. It'll stick. So I think the most important thing when it comes to branding is consistency. And so I've stuck with that. I mean, from day one, the logo stayed the same, the colors have stayed the same. And now when people see, that, they know what it is and who it is. And that's only through consistency. So I think that's super important. When brands start to change things too much, it's all over the place. You don't know what it is. So consistency, just like anything, right? Posting consistent, your brand needs to be consistent too.
That's good. That's good. Because I guess I guess they develop like an identity and what to expect when they see, that movie, What to Expect When You're Expecting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's weird that you're hitting your right marks. For instance, when we first pressed live today, everybody was there. They was already here, ready to go. You know what I mean? And no one would know that if you're not consistent. And I used to be that.
And the look and the brand has to be too. You got to train, if you're looking at it from a business perspective, as a company, you got to train the consumers about your brand. And the only way you train them is by getting that same thing in front of them over and over and over again. So the same thing with getting your content out there, but keeping the look and the format and everything the same, and it'll catch on and it'll grow. You got to give it time. So, maybe after 6 months, if it's not working, then you can, take a look at changing it up slightly. And that's what you see with professional brands. When something you look at any professional brand, you look at, I was in the beer industry for a long time, right? So you look at a craft beer like Sierra Nevada, right? Their branding has been the same from day one. But as soon as you start to see some changes and some, dip in growth, then you see them come up with another brand, and they have their like hazy brand now, which has a totally different look than the standard Sierra Nevada look. And it's almost like a different line and into a different genre, but you got to keep that branding the same. And then when you finally notice that it's really not working, then you can take a look at changing it. But again, just consistency.
Bruh, that's
that
fire.
makes
You know
any
what's cool is, as you say that, and then Keely, I was going to mention Keely, and she put it into herself, because just get yourself an analogous red whistle. Keely, I have never seen her without red, black, and white on, ever. And she always has her logo somewhere nearby her in anything when she's on camera. It's kind of incredible. And Dr. Elo Stupid, he said, I'm in the beer industry. I'm a consumer.
Yeah.
That's funny. People grow to know what you look, sound like with great branding. True story. I hear something that I hear all the time, because I was in radio here for a long time. I'll be in a grocery store and I'll be saying something, to Karen, and I'll see the person in the aisle, like they're looking at their product, they're reading the label, and then they stop and they look, and I look at them like, why are you staring at me? And they're like, hey, I recognize that voice. Did you used to be on the radio? And I'm like, yeah. And it's weird because they heard you for so long, and maybe, they never met you, or maybe they hadn't noticed you on the TV thing, because not everybody watches TV. And it blows my mind that even now, I've been out of radio for more than 10 years, but they just recognize the voice. So Kevin, you're 100% correctly. You're 100% correctly. English, not a thing. You're 100% correct that branding does start to stick. That is very, very true. Brother, this has been freaking amazeballs. I hope people understand that, yeah, simple to do. So we're going to run it back down real quick. Come up with your why, right? Pick your podcast hoster. Record your episodes in the car with an iPhone. I believe that's probably the best way to start. Before you go out and buy a bunch of stuff, record maybe your first 5 to 10, episodes in your car with your iPhone. If you feel like you're loving it, then go out and get your stuff set up.
And that's key right there, Doc. That's key right there, is see if you're into it first, right? Because you may not be into the quality of your first couple episodes. Just know those are the worst episodes you will ever record, and they will get better from there. So as long as you're into it and you're cool with like the method and you're enjoying it, don't focus on the quality, because it's going to suck. It's going to be bad. Those are going to be your worst episodes. It'll get better from there. So if you enjoy doing it, just know it's going to get better. So I think that's funny. Key. A lot of people allow themselves to get beat down because, like, oh, well, these first couple episodes, like, the quality's horrible. Well, yeah, of course it is.
It's going to be.
It's just going to get better. It's just going to get better from there.
Bruh, like, I was listening to Morbid the other day ambiently, because my old lady loves that show. These girls are on like episode number 400 something, and somehow they're still messy, but it's funny messy, and it's dope. Their messiness is part of the thing, because Serial and Crime Junkies is so clean and polished. They're just generic messiness is better. And according to their episode count, they've been there longer than these other guys, right? So it was funny. They went back and they played clips from their earliest episodes, right? It was a train wreck. It was an absolute train wreck. But these girls are amazing. If you're into true crime, check out the podcast Morbid. It's pretty impressive, sort of how they do that. Even the original Crime Junkies were like murderous, no pun intended. That was completely no pun intended. But the quality goes. So yes, I agree with that. Then once, and again, set yourself a target. Like, if I make it to 10, treat myself by going out and getting my mic and my equipment and things like that now. Then we'll go to your editing flow. You do all your own editing, or do you hire an editor?
No, I'm too much of a control freak. I do all my own editing. It's like I hate doing it. I hate doing it, but I do all my own editing for sure.
What do you edit in?
Logic.
Yeah, okay. I do both. I go between Logic and Audition so that I don't get complacent. It sounds so weird, but I have to put weird pains on myself, otherwise I'll get complacent and make mistakes. So I flip-flop between Audition and Logic.
The editing part, like tweaking the sound, like I have my own presets basically saved for my EQ and my compression and my limiter, and like those are good starting points. And for me, they never change, right? Because my voice is the same every time. And then I just need to tweak it for the guest. What takes the time is just like tightening up, those pauses in the audio where if you're not visually seeing the conversation, those pauses can seem a little awkward when it's just audio, so you got to tighten it up, and that can take a while. And I
Oh,
probably
you just
put
gave
too
away
much
a
attention into
secret.
that.
You just gave away a secret. Here's another reason why you do with Ecamm. If you're editing and you have the Ecamm video there, you can use that as a visual cue to help you chop places, right? You can also, if you're recording it not live, you can tell yourself what to do in the edit. You know what I'm saying? You know, you can be like, hey, okay, I want to remind myself to take this part out here, cut it out, and then, oh, this is where I want to insert the promo tag or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's another thing that you can remember to do. You can give yourself cues because you're going to edit it, right? Yeah. So there's that. And Dr. Elo said this is definitely fire, especially for him as a new podcaster. And then Valerie says, thank you. This makes me feel so much better about what I'm doing. And that's what we're here for. They say, you know, a spoonful of sugar helped the medicine go down. You got the doctor and the guy who creates honey. Look, boom, this is perfect. So, all right. So now after you get your stuff posted, and the promotion part is the last key. What do you do for your promotion side?
Yeah, so what I do is I post 3 times, and I post, you know, one is kind of like an audio clip. The next post is later in the week is an audiogram, and then the last one is a little video clip from the actual recording. So, and I keep the branding all the same, right? So it's got my logo, it's got the same color scheme, and that's all consistent across every post.
You see, gang, and that's another key element. Even if you're doing an audio-only podcast, if you use Ecamm or something of that nature, having those video clips, you can use that as part of your social. You know what I'm saying? So tell your guests, like, hey, we are going to be audio podcast, but hey, let's do some camera-ready stuff too, because I can use that to help promote the episode. And normally, depending on who you're talking to, they'll be down because you're also helping them promote them. Yep. You know what I mean?
Promote each episode multiple times, because I think a lot of people get in the habit of thinking, well, I don't want to bug everybody that, you know, follows me on Instagram with too many posts, right? I don't want to do that. Well, guess what, guys? People have busy lives. They might scroll through it and miss it the first time, or they might see them like, oh, I got to go listen to that. And then, you know, a couple days go by and they forget because, well, we all have busy lives. So posting regularly multiple times to promote your episode, there's nothing wrong with that. And, you know, hey, if they don't want to see it, they're going to unsubscribe. They weren't going to be a follower anyway. So don't worry about it. Promote your episodes.
See, I needed to hear that because, yeah, I haven't been doing that. And then even yesterday, I was so mad because I set Agora Post to post the episode. And I woke up this morning and I was like, yo, there's supposed to be 2 posts and neither one of them triggered. And so it didn't like your name or something. I'm teasing. I don't know what happened. So I ended up just doing it anyway, just so it could be there, so anyone can catch a FOMO and realize they miss it. Like the YouTube video will be there later, so they can watch it later. But yeah, that is something that I am still kind of wrapping my head around it, because I guess what happens to us is we see the people that are just horrible at it and they just go way hard, and it's like literally the same post every hour for that whole day. Yeah, that would drive you crazy. So, oh, okay. Mr. Kevin brought up a very key thing.
That's what I use. I use the
the one in Pixel Film Studios.
Yeah, I use that for my, like, if you go look at my post from yesterday.
Yeah, I saw it with the orange and gray, like perfect. Yeah,
you can
bouncy
change the
bounce.
Colors, and you can change like the different shapes and stuff. But that's what I use. That's what
I've seen it before. I don't think I've ever like really paid attention to it. I see it every time I go to their site, but let me pull this up real quick. Just due to the fact that what I was doing with mine is I was generating them in After Effects because, well, video nerd, but it takes way too long, right? Even when it goes to render that mess, it takes way too long, and I got sick of it and I stopped doing it. Then I got on this app called Headliner.app.
I use that for like a couple. I just didn't like it.
I didn't like it either. It's cute for like 5 seconds, and then I'm like, nope, fam, not me. I'm over it. So this is what Kevin is speaking upon.
I got my little routine, my little templates, and I plug in the new audio and the new headshot from the guest. So
and then this is easier. I'm not going to play the whole video because it's going to be loud. But basically, this is what they're doing. They're showing you that you can go in here and generate really cool looking things. Now, Jared doesn't go crazy like this. He just has a simple one, but I think that's what makes it good, because you don't want to distract from the what the person is saying, or you don't want to distract from the guest. Jared looks similar to that, but up and down. So, I mean, yeah, people, for $40, you can go to Pixel Film Studio, and they say a free update coming soon for us Apple M1 oriented type folks. So, hey, this is a good look. Good job, Kevin. I completely forgot about the Pixel Film Studio visualizer, because, yeah, I've been doing it in After Effects, and now I've been using Descript. They like to say Descript. And, yeah, it's I like this better because it's way more visual. As a visual person, it's way more better. Way more better. Okay, now I'm speaking English. And Keely said, serious wisdom, Jared. And, yeah,
I try.
Same thing, bro. Obs, I'm with you. I always get in that trap, like I don't want to post too much, but yeah. And then, Headliner, you got to do it in their app, and that's another thing that slows you down, because you're uploading stuff to the web, and then, I mean, I already have it. My computer's here. I'm already open. I'm ready to go. I can just press go. By the way, gang, when we get to the Auphonic video, I'll show you that you can actually buy the app for $89, I guess, and put it on your computer so you don't have to do the uploads or buy credits. So if you know you're going to post a lot, it's probably worth it. I'm going to switch to the app as soon as I finish burning up the 1,000 credits that I bought, because I use Audition like a phenom. Well, gang, we're going to wrap this up because, like myself, Jared got thing to do. And I really, really appreciate you for coming through. The audience, they love you. So thank you for that.
Yeah, the audience has been great. Thanks, guys. Can I give one plug for your audience, too?
All day.
All right, guys. So if you go check out episode 50, I'm sure everybody knows Tom Buck. Tom Buck came on, was a guest host, and interviewed me. So the listeners who have heard me through 50 episodes or 49 episodes got to know me a little bit better. But to celebrate, a lot of supportive brands that have supported me through this past year and all these episodes partnered up with me to do a giveaway. So if you guys go to episode 50, there's a link in the description of that episode. You can enter the giveaway. We're giving away a pod mic, an audio interface from Rode, so you can use the pod mic with your computer. We got a couple lights from Aperture. We have a subscription, pro subscription from Ecamm as well. And what else do we have? We got a couple books, one from Sean Cannell and one from Pat Flynn. They both pitched in a book because they've both been on the show. So a lot of great stuff that you guys can win and get you on your way to be able to create amazing well, you have everything you need to make a podcast and great tools to start making a video podcast too. So go enter.
Nice. Keely, thank you for that. Said thank you, and you need, I'll put it back. She said, Jared, you need to join up on the School of Doc on Saturday soon. So, yeah, I agree, Keely.
I'll have to check that out.
That's why we trust Keely around here. She's awesome. And plus, she's an umpire. So, gang, yes, absolutely rad. The Sean Cannell episode is really, really, really insightful and fire, and I'd suggest you
learned some stuff about Sean I had no idea about. Right. And he just opened up and okay, yes. Well, cool.
That was really, really good episode. And yeah, it's kind of, I thought that was good because he did open up and he goes deep. But, it's different when you catch them in an environment where they have an opportunity to be themselves. Like even for me, like that was so comfortable yesterday. I feel like, you've been in the interview game for years. I've been interviewing forever, and you're extremely good at it. So keep going. Definitely appreciate all the work that you do. And gang, it is a fantastic listen. As a creator, you'll hear some of the stuff that we talk about all the time, about getting unstuck, being on the right path, finding your mark, like all of that. So definitely go and listen to the podcast for sure. Now, if you are unfamiliar when Keely and Aubrey is talking about come to the School of Doc, that you can find us here basically every Saturday after the live stream. We have a Zoom call, and it is the Drop Squad. You just go to buymeacoffee.com. You can become a member. As a member, you get to come and hang out with us in there, and we do other cool, fun stuff as well. So make sure you do that. Also, do not forget to go and check out the Jared Cast, and make sure you check out this episode 50 right away. Tom, is a member. You guys know Tom, Buck, and Heather are both in Let's Get Live family. So, you just go there to support them. Never mind Jared. I'm joking. Jared, this has been fantastic. Tell everyone, how can they find more of Jared?
Yeah, just best place is Instagram at Jared Spink, as it says there on the screen. And then from there, there's, of course, a link in the bio, and you can check out the podcast and check out the website and go from there. So that's probably the best place. It'll take you everywhere.
I didn't even ask this question because I'm sure everyone asks you all the time, but I just want to know, what kind of last name is Spink? All I can think of is Egypt.
I believe.
Oh, sorry. That was really weird. The Buy Me a Coffee thing popped up and it muted your audio, and that never happened before. That was a first. Okay, I gotta note this time so I can tell the boys. 11:11. Perfect. 1:11. That was so weird. I've never seen that happen before. Okay, what did you say? Sorry.
I think it's English, but
okay.
There we go.
You don't know?
Oh, dude, our family. We're all over the place, man. My dad's side of the family has done a horrible job keeping track of the family tree. So yeah, I really don't know.
Me too. I'm with you.
My
on
mom's
that.
side has done a fantastic job. They can track their family through, all the way back through the Civil War, back to Europe before they came to America. They've been really good. But my dad's side, yeah, I have no idea.
That sounds about right. All right, gang, we're out of here. I will see you guys on Saturday. We'll be back again. I got Robert Kennedy is going to join me pretty soon. You guys don't know Robert from Ecamm group and things like that. And Jared, man, it's been quite amazing. I can't wait to just follow you on your journey. And of course, we're all here to help. If you need anything, you can always jump in the Ecamm community, ask anybody anything, and we will help you. We have some fantastic smeezes in that chat down there. Like our subject matter experts are
Ecamm fan, right? I got my shirt.
100%, brother. I really appreciate you. You are quite amazing, and I can't wait to see more. Let me play some fantastic music on the way out. Mrs. D teases me because she said that lately I've been playing sad songs. So I'll come up with something better. Guys, I'll see you Saturday. I really appreciate you all for being here, and we'll see you soon. Here we go.
Peace.
Honey, I got what you want.